Which teams have the hottest seats in the NBA? I'm not talking the squads that are rebuilding. The ones that should be good, are paying players to be good, and are not good.
Yeah, it's the Sacramento Kings. I know you mentioned built to be good. I don't think they're built to be good. They're paid to be good. I mean, you're sitting there with DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Sabonis. Malik Monk is still there. They overpaid Dennis Schroeder. 3 years, $44 million. They got a new GM this year, and that was like his first move was to get Dennis Schroeder in the building. Don't hate on Dennis Schroeder at all. I think he's a solid player, a little spark plug, but another ball-centric guy. The defense is going to be bottom 3 in the league. I'm just calling it now. I don't know where they're going. I don't know what the path is forward. It seems so long ago when they had Tyrese Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox.
Well, Tyrese Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox, fun fact, they actually weren't good together. They were on that last Luke Walton team, but it was, after they traded Halliburton, they bring in Sabonis, they start lighting beams. Malik Monk decides he wants to stay a King. Sacramento fans are like, damn, Malik wants to stay in the Capitol? We're loving life right now. And since then, to go from potentially Halliburton or Fox as your franchise point guard to now Dennis Schroeder, with all due respect to Dennis, that's tough. You got Sabonis making more than OG Anunoby, Zion Ja, which is fine because he's great, but you want that type of player to be on a winning team. You have Zach LaVine making more than Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. In today's NBA, I mean, not financial guys here. We don't like talking about the financial parts of the NBA, but right now it's a hot topic, and you cannot have that expensive of players on the floor together that don't necessarily complement each other. Like, you better be good complements, and bringing LaVine and DeRozan, who had one good cup of coffee in Chicago, not individually, obviously. I'm talking as a team. There was that one good Bulls half season, I think it was. Aside from that, they were terrible. And the Kings say, we want to go fishing in that pond. It makes no sense.
No, it really doesn't. And poor DeMar DeRozan, man. I was really hoping he would somehow get moved or signed to a contender, because now all the advanced analytics guys are going to crush him for the mid-range jumper. But he's still a really good player and really efficient in his own role. But, yeah, it just makes no sense. The team's a disaster. They got to figure out a way to just kind of blow this thing up and actually do a real rebuild, because what they're doing now, they got a taste of being kind of solid in that Western Conference. And like you remember, like Kevin Huerter lighting the beam every night. They were awesome, but they didn't really do anything in the playoffs. And now they're kind of stuck, man.
Yeah, they had Mike Brown, head coach, NBA coach of the year, and within like a year and a half of the glory, they say, see ya. They kick him to the curb. They bring in Doug Christie, and maybe that they have enough talent on the team to be solid. The issue is they're not going to be better than solid, we don't think, and they just have a bunch of players that don't really fit what they're trying to do. And I would think they would have to make some deals during the season if things go awry. The Raptors, on paper, man, they win a stats off. There's one issue. It's like your little cousin put the team together on 2K. Are they geniuses or are they jackasses? If you're going to be expensive, I don't have an issue with being expensive, but at least be like the Golden State Warriors, where you're legit striking fear from time to time to the top opposition. Unfortunately, this team's not like the Golden State Warriors. They have Emmanuel Quickley making, and frankly, he's a nice player. Only played 33 games last season, averaged 17 points, got a nice touch game, nice little floater, good shooter, good on the pull-up threes. One issue, he's making $30-something million a year. RJ Barrett, 21, 6, and 5. Again, stuff in stat sheets. And a blind stats face-off, you'd think they're the numbers of Jimmy Butler. Or you'd take those numbers over Jimmy Butler. Even better, he could score. He's got elite athleticism, but he needs the ball in his hands. He could take bad shots. He could turn it over. Things that Jimmy Butler, for the money that he makes, does. And, Barrett's making 30-something million a year. And then Brandon Ingram. Love his game, but he's making $38 million. That's a hefty contract. He's putting up 22 and 5. Can he hit the three? Because Scotty Barnes ain't. Scotty Barnes is making $38 million, 19 points, 17 boards, 7 boards, I should say. But he's a Florida State guy. Leonard Hamilton. They struggle in that half court. They struggle in that half court, and he shot 27% from three, lack of spacing. They got Jakob Poeltl, $20 million, and that leads us to Grady Dick, the white guy that only hit 35% last season. As a team, They were 23rd in the league. Now, how good will Ingram shoot it? I just mentioned like 6 guys that average 15 plus. They have some enticing pieces there. Any chance the Raptors are nice, or is it more like this just doesn't fit, guys?
I'm going to go with the latter. This is another head scratcher for me, similar with Sacramento. I mean, just looking down the Eastern Conference, like you can pencil in Washington,
I'm excited to watch
Charlotte.
them, though. Aren't you just excited to see them tip it off for like 10 games? It'll be entertaining.
It's a league pass team, and they got some offensive weapons, like you said. I mean, RJ Barrett, it just doesn't pass the eye test for me. When you look at his box score, you go, oh, wow, it was actually a pretty solid night, but it doesn't seem like he brings a winning basketball mentality. And when you pair that with, and I like Quickly too, it's like they got a bunch of third and fourth options and overpaid them to go to one team. And Brandon Ingram is what he is, another guy that's, stuffs the stat sheet, but does he actually win basketball games for you? I haven't seen it yet. But there's 3 teams that I would pencil in that are going to be worse than them in the East, and that's Washington, Charlotte, and Brooklyn. And Washington and Brooklyn are going to be trying to lose, but the Raptors are certainly not with the way that they put this team together. So I think they're going to be one of the worst teams in the East. I'd be shocked if they actually maybe, they might flirt with a play-in type of team and, the 9th, 10th seed, something like that. But I'd be shocked if they got in that top 8.
I think we're going to be hopping on some Raptors spreads early in the season just to make sure we're keeping our tabs on the Raptors, and we'll have them on this NBA After Dark show. We have no biases. We talk about the biggest stories. We talk about your teams, and in the offseason, we bring up topics like hot seats, teams that have made bad decisions or gotten unlucky. And the Sixers may be one of those teams that have gotten unlucky. The timelines just no longer add up. It made sense in theory to pair Paul George, Joel Embiid, a young rising star like Tyrese Maxey. But Embiid's played 58 games the last 2 seasons. It's knees at this point, man. We're talking cartilage, we're talking elasticity, things that unfortunately usually get worse as you get into your mid-30s. He's now 32, I believe. They're paying him a ton of money. And the way that I look at the Sixers, imagine a Steph Curry contract, $60 million per year, basically. Imagine if the Warriors had that contract, which they do, but Curry didn't play. That's Embiid. I mean, he makes that amount of money. And then you got a player like VJ Edgecombe, who I think is a future. He's got a future worth getting behind. Like, this guy is nice, has a little D Wade in him. But with Embiid and Paul George's contracts, how do you turn the page on this present right now? I feel like their only mode is to stay as healthy as they can and try to win now.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 sides to this coin. There's a really, really dark side, and that is just the simple fact that Joel Embiid, he's actually 31 right now. He'll be turning 32 in March. He's owed $58 million, right? He's coming off a knee surgery. He's 7 foot, 280 pounds, and he's had multitude of knee issues. That usually doesn't bode well for guys like that once they get into their 30s. He's then owed $62 million next year, and then $67 million at the age 34. You don't love that. Paul George, very similar, 34 years old, has bionic knees at this point. $51 million this year, $54 million next year, and then $56 million at age 37. And before he got hurt this prior year, and I've been a Paul George guy forever. I just love the way he plays, but he's getting old. He had one of his worst. He barely played this season, but he was awful when he did. On the other side of this coin is the positives. If these guys can get healthy and play to their capabilities, Joel Embiid was unbelievable, 2 seasons ago? If he can get close to that, and they got young guys like Edgecombe, Jared McCain looked good when he played last year. He got way more minutes than anybody would have thought. And if Paul George can get back to his normal self, I mean, they have the talent. It's just a matter of whether their body's going to hold up or are they just going into a nursing home.
Is the Suns' method similar to the Sixers right now, where you got to hope? They obviously don't have the ceiling of the Sixers, but you got to hope they're kind of good because they got to pay Beal to play for somebody else. They land Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green, 2 players that are kind of win now. Jalen Green may have another level to take his game, but he may not. Then you get Mark Williams, who I like, but you're paying Booker to help you win now. Can this team actually win now? Or are they on the hot seat? Like, what the hell's Phoenix doing?
No, they can't win now. I think Matt Ishbia, the owner, hot take, he's probably the worst owner in all of sports. He's one of those guys that likes to get his hands on everything. And basically the second he got there, he just turned it into a dumpster fire. People forget, like, what, 4 years ago, they were in the NBA Finals, I think like the 2021 season, and then semis in the Western Conference, like back-to-back, and then got swept right when he bought the team in the first round, and then had one of the most expensive rosters that didn't even make the playoffs last year. So, yeah, I don't think they're trying to win now because they can't win now. It seems like they're trying to rebuild around Devin Booker. Personally, I would have just traded him and been like, listen, we tried and we royally screwed this one up, fellas. Let's package him and get some picks or something. But, yeah, I mean, they got Booker, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Royce O'Neal, Mark Williams. Ryan Dunn is an interesting player. They're going nowhere fast in the Western Conference. I would assume they're going to package guys like Dylan Brooks for a team that, needs a defensive stopper, just a guy that's going to fist fight people every game just to get some toughness on a team. I would think he's going to be like a deadline trade guy, but kind of interesting. They screwed themselves. The Bradley Beal thing was just a epic disaster. That's what you would do on 2K. You would see Bradley Beal's name, you'd be like, we got to get him. And then wait a minute, he's owed this much money? Holy shit, and he's not even that good anymore?
Yeah, fuck.
So, yeah, they're in a tough spot.